Hello, everybody. What a week it has been. In this video, I want to share my technical analysis into what the market looks like with the technical tools that I use. I feel like everybody needs a bit of insight right now or preparation into what might be coming. Market is a really at a massive make or break levels. So, firstly, in this video, my main purpose to introduce you to technical tools that I am using. The technical tools that I use are RSI, Ichimoku cloud, Bollinger Bands, pivot points, and moving averages. I want to use these technical tools to identify where we might be going. And all of these tools have its own purposes. So I just combine and have my own perspective for what the market is going to look like. And I take my actions according to that. So basically, by combining these tools, you are essentially covering the three most critical pillars of technical analysis. One is momentum, trend, and the volatility. So you can get your trades going according to that. So what is Ichimoku Cloud? Ichimoku Cloud is your big picture tool. So basically, to see if the market is going to be bullish or bearish, it defines the overall trend, like support and resistance zones and the sentiment. If the price is above the cloud, you are looking for mostly buy setups and it is a bullish trend. And the other one is moving averages. Moving averages provide the structural, basically, market backbone. If you're using 50-day moving average to 200-day moving averages, whichever it is, they act as the ultimate filter for that trend direction. The third tool that we're going to be using is the Bollinger Bands, and these are your volatility gauges. Like they tell you when the market is overextended touching the outer bands. For example, I use that when I want to sell covered calls or squeezing before a major breakout. And if it is touching the lower Bollinger bands, that's when I would be selling puts, right? And I combine this with the VIX levels. RSI, as you might be knowing, relative strength index, your momentum oscillator. It helps you to identify whether the market is overbought or oversold condition. And perhaps more importantly, if there's a divergence and if the current trend is losing the steam. And another technical tool that I'm using is the pivot points. These act as your map for the day or the week, providing objective horizontal price levels for profit targets. So, okay, let's look at the SPY chart right now. Let's look at the chart for SPY weekly analysis. Here I'm going to be using my toolkit, Ichimoku Cloud, Bollinger Bands, RSI, moving averages, and the pivot points to identify the key levels for the market and to show you exactly where the trapdoors and where the wealth building opportunities lie. So, first, this is my long-term channel coming from all the way 2008. As you see, we just broke out of this long-term channel around September, November, and I was expecting that it needed to go into the channel. So it touched down in November, right below the upper level of the trend channel, bouncing off a 20-day moving average. It came back down again in February. Right now, testing the 50-day moving average. 50-day moving average is right now sitting at 643 levels, and Friday the market low was 644. So weekly chart is very important to understand the structural health of this bull market. So if you look at it, SPY has officially returned to its long-term trend channel. It tried to in November, but right now with this candlestick, we can see there's a more serious intention that it wants to stay inside. We're now seeing, other than the November action, we're now seeing a healthy but painful mean reversion back into the channel. So for the Ichimoku cloud, the cloud still remains green and is trading above this green cloud, which is our long-term bullish anchor for this bull market. However, the Tankan Sen, which is the conversion line, if you see, is our trend line for this market, is crossing this red line. Okay. The Tankan Sen is the conversion line. It's the fastest and most reactive component of the Ichimoku cloud system. It acts as a short-term trend indicator and a signal line. So it basically tells you if the market is switching sides. So it basically helps identify momentum, potential price reversals, and short-term support or resistance. Obviously, it's not certain, it is potential. You can say that Tankan Sen is the momentum and trend direction signal. So if we go back to our chart, so the Tankan Sen is here hooking. If you see that, it's going downward and it's about to cross right here. So it did not exactly, but it's basically threatening right now to cross the red line, which is our first major signal of a long-term trend shift. So if you look at it, the first time that it was crossed was in March 2025, and then it traded like for like 2 months, and then when it crossed back into bullish channel, we knew there was going to be a good certain reversal over there. So for the moving averages, we're currently sitting on the 50 days moving average around 643. It did not touch there. We're going to see if it's going to touch there. This is our support level right now since basically last April 2025 crash. It's a big psychological floor. If we close the week below this, the next stop is a deeper level, which is the 100-day moving average. And before that, there are other levels that we could see. I'm going to see 615. That's what we're going to watch because this is our pivot point, and this aligns with the previous breakout zone from early 2025. And now when we look at RSI, so RSI is right now sitting at 48.2. It has been resetting. As you see, there's no bullish divergence here yet, but it's meaning the selling pressure hasn't fully exhausted itself on the macro scale from the weekly chart analysis. It needs to find a floor here and to show us that it wants to go back, it wants to reverse. Before that, we can't really yet say there is a reversal. So now let's go look at the, let's look at the Bollinger Bands. Right now, it is trading on the touch points of the lower Bollinger Bands. So we'll see if it's going to extend down or it wants to move back to the middle Bollinger Band. And if it goes above this level, then we may see further upside momentum, but I don't think it's going to happen soon yet. I think that we're going to see more volatility in the coming weeks. So let's look at the daily chart. For the daily chart, let me extend. This is very important. More than the weekly chart. think, to gauge where the market is heading and where the movements could be happening. So, because this is where we actually decide how to trade, and sometimes I look at the hourly chart too, but mostly daily. Um, so let's see the moving averages. As you see, the SPY, the price closed below the 200-day moving average, which is sitting at $660.36. This was the backbone of the market. So losing this level actually flips our bias from buy the dip to sell the rip. So until we reclaim 60C, this is now our resistance level. Every bounce should be treated as potential dead cat bounce. So until we see a real confirmation upward, I cannot say that we are reversing it. So this 643 level, which was the 50-day moving average on the weekly. So this is an important level to watch if we cross this 632 and then 618 levels. Obviously, it doesn't go like straight down. It goes like a bearish trend line, has its lower lows and lower highs. So that's where you can make good money with the volatility. So when we go look at the Bollinger Band, we're currently overstretched and hugging the lower Bollinger Band. While this usually signals a bounce is coming, the bands are expanding downward. So it could be a trap. We'll see how it could help us with the hourly chart. So last thing for the Ichimoku, as you see, we cleared other two. As you see, our Tenkan Sen basically around here definitively and certainly crossed the red line and it wanted to go down around like February 10, and here is the cloud crossover to red cloud. The thing is, red cloud is pretty thin, so I don't know, it could just like reverse back to green, but it is trading under the cloud right now. It means the market sentiment is very bearish. So lastly, let's look at the RSI. RSI is going into the oversold below 30 levels. It's right now 29.63. It is officially in the oversold area, but not extremely so. In April 2025, we did not bottom until RSI touched like 21. So like here it was like 29 and it felt like a little dead cat bounce, and then it went down and then we see a reversal. So it tells me there may still some downward energy left in this flush. So beware of that. And if you look at the daily pivot point levels, so yeah, so we're just going to be watching for the next week 643 level closely and then 632 levels. And then obviously if you go down below that, the next stop is 618, and like hopefully by then it can reverse. But because they said there may still be another interest rate announcement, not this year, but next year, it tells me that from a major economic perspective, there's still more room for the bullish market to finish its own road, but it doesn't come without this correction. So if you look at the last 20 to 25 years, market always has its own 5 to 10% correction to reset the RSI, to, clear up the greed and for the capitals to be deployed so it can resume its game again. All right. So the game plan is here, and why and how is obviously technical analysis is useless without a trade plan, right? So how are you going to trade this? So what I do, I look at this and I see there's a lot of volatility is coming, there's a lot of fears coming. When the volatility is high, when the VIX is trading at these levels, it tells me there's a lot of room to, like these levels between 26 to 37. Tells me to clear up cash. It tells me to be more active in my trade, and it tells me to see that this is an opportunity. This is not something to run away. So because we were overstretched on the Bollinger Bands and RSI is under 30, I actually expect a little bit of like a really relief rally to test like 660 to 664 area, which is at the basically it was 200-day moving average. Now it's becoming our resistance. So I expect that it could go there, and I plan to trade according to the X levels. And if the X goes back a little bit under 25, I know my trades are going to be in profit. Then I open on Friday, NVDA and PLTR. So I would look to take profits on that on Monday, and I have leaps that I open for NVIDIA and Palantir. I actually want to look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA too on the daily cross the 200-day average. And now it is going to act as there was like a movement here between like 170 and 190 area. So it may come back around these levels if we go above the 200-day average. I sold a put around 160. If it actually goes there, I'll be happy to own the stock because NVIDIA is known as like, big rally up and then this like sideways movement and then rally again. So I don't know, maybe by the end of this year, I could see that NVIDIA might be going to like R3 levels, like 219. And then Palantir is trying to like cross over this bearish Ichimoku cloud right now. I think it's a good sign. Ichimoku cloud's about to 10. So I'm just gonna be watching if it goes in the Ichimoku cloud and actually comes around like 166 area. And then I may close my puts and my leaps there too. So how are you going to navigate this market, right? I will be having more cash on hand. Right now, I have like 25% to like 30% cash. And when I close my trades, I open on Friday. When the VIX goes below 25 again, I will have more cash. And between the high interest rates and the geopolitical uncertainty, I think cash is the position that you want to be in to take advantage of the opportunity and fear in the market. So obviously, not only the chart is going to help you because there's a lot of, as I say, fundamental influence over the market from like the war, Fed. So just keeping those in mind. So just to like let you know, don't fear this red and just use it into your advantage. Manage your risk accordingly. These are the ones when you build real wealth. These are the moments the real wealthy people build generational wealth. So we're just gonna wait for the confirmation, watch these resistance levels, and we're gonna trade the plan. And if you want to follow my journey as I navigate this market, make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell. And leave a comment below. Do you think 643 level is going to hold, or are we going to 618 levels? Let's discuss and have a great trading week.